Here. What's good, everybody? It's Sean P. the Bluff God. Hey! And we are back with another reaction stream. And today we will be reacting to we will be continuing the reaction videos of Artur, the Library of Ohara. And today we will be reacting to episode 5. I want to say it's episode 5. The name of the video is Who Are the D Clan? The Straw Hat of Fate. One Piece, The True History. So yeah, we will be continuing the series of this major theory that Artur pretty much has been setting the stage for, and it will eventually culminate to a final episode which put everything together. But before we get into that, make sure you like the stream, subscribe if you haven't already. I will be doing a giveaway to my subscribers. I'll be giving away 2 of those to 2 subscribers, 2 lucky subscribers. But we'll get into the aspects of how the giveaway will happen after we reach that 50 subscriber count, whatever you want to call it, that 50 subscriber milestone. But yeah, anyway, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter at BlumpGuide. We have a One Piece Facebook group for anybody who's on Facebook and wants to join a One Piece group. We also have a One Piece Discord. All of the links will be in the description box below. But yeah. Anyway, let me pull up this video, make sure I got it up. This video is going to be a good about 30 minutes. So yeah, that's what we talking about for this. Make sure you go to the original video, give Artur a like, especially if you like the video as we watch it. Make sure you subscribe to his page if you haven't already. He makes great One Piece content, great theories. You know, he's a great One Piece creator. What can I say? But yeah, the link will be in the description as well. If you would rather watch the video and not really hear me talk over it, still give me a like though. It'd definitely still be appreciated. But yeah, let's get into it. All right.
Exist in One Piece. This might seem like an odd question at first, but fate might in fact be one of the most important elements in the mysteries of the story, and as such, it is vital that we understand just how exactly fate works.
And before we go deep into it, because he's talking about fate, and you know, the title says who are the D Clan, so I'm assuming we're going to talk about the Will of D, you know. And, you know, I'm kind of wondering how it's going to connect with one of the previous theories that I've done from a Reddit post that's talked about the D Clan. Maybe there might be some intersecting ideas, you know. And I'm also curious about his ideas of the Straw Hat, since it's in the title, The Straw Hat of Fate. So I'm assuming he's going to talk about the Straw Hat. And one thing I've always been curious, one thing that I always wanted in the series is maybe a flashback of the history of the Straw Hat, you know, because we see that Gold D. Roger gave it to Shanks. Shanks gave it to Monkey D. Luffy. But, you know, who gave it to Gold D. Roger? You know, is it something that Gold D. Roger found at a random shop? You know, and if so, why did he choose a Straw Hat? Because we've seen the Straw Hat in Mary Joa, that big one, that could have possibly belonged to somebody like Joy Boy or the Sun God or something. I don't know. So I'm really, you know, that's one of the topics that I also always kind of had in my head, was if we would ever get kind of a, as silly as it sounds, because it's an inanimate object, a backstory to the Straw Hat. You know, since this is such an important piece to the series, you know, to Luffy's character. The Straw Hat is one of the most important pieces. It was given to him by Shanks, who encouraged him to become a pirate, and we see him through the series try not to lose the Straw Hat, or because it's his treasure that Shanks gave to him, and supposedly, Luffy is supposed to give Shanks the Straw Hat back, next time they meet, and Luffy is a strong pirate. I kind of have reservations about that because I think it might be possible that Blackbeard, or most likely Blackbeard, but I think it's possible that Shanks may be killed before Luffy could return that Straw Hat. So it kind of make the point of giving the Straw Hat back moot, and it would make sure that Luffy keeps it. But yeah, I think Blackbeard may possibly kill Shanks before they could meet, before Luffy and Shanks could meet. It's possible he could die, meaning that Luffy never really fulfills that promise. Which can give Luffy a little more depth. The fact that he was unable to fulfill a promise to somebody like Shanks, but not because it's his fault, but more so because it's Blackbeard that took away that promise from him. So that would increase why Luffy wants to defeat Blackbeard. I think that would add more weight to the Luffy and Blackbeard showdown that we all assume is going to happen. But yeah. Episode 5, The True History. The True History, Episode 5, Who Are the D Clan? All right, let's get into it. The video is the 5th episode in an 8-part video series. So we're just over halfway through with this series. We just got 3 more videos after this one. So, okay. This video is the 5th episode in an 8-part video series about all the secrets in the world of One Piece. It is recommended to watch all 8 videos in order for maximum enjoyment, but it isn't required to enjoy the video, so you can still watch ahead if you want. All episodes will be linked in order in the description.
However, before that, let's summarize everything so far. So, before the Void Century, the world was oppressed, with humans persecuting other races and oppressing each other, with rulers, kings, and tyrants attaining all the privilege, living as gods, while those below them suffered. Enter Joy Boy, a young man who set out to sea to become a pirate. Joy Boy valued freedom above all else. He wanted to be the freest man in the world, but he knew that he could only achieve that by bringing freedom to everyone else. Something that would only happen if he did away with the corrupt system of power and the discrimination that lied in the world. And so, he rallied the races of the world to fight for equality, founded a kingdom of pirates on the final island, and worked towards creating a tomorrow where all races could live under the same sun, the Dawn. But to do this, the Grand Line and the Red Line would have to be destroyed, so that all the oceans could be connected into the All Blue, and so that everyone could travel the seas freely as they wish, ushering a new tomorrow where everybody could be free and seek out adventure, the dawn of adventure, the Romance Dawn. However, the only way to destroy the Red Line and the Grand Line would be through the power of the ancient weapons. But during the war, the weapons were likely wiped out, and so the Alliance gained the advantage, and Joy Boy's forces were slowly dwindled and wiped out. However, before they had been defeated, Joy Boy had already realized that they were done for. As Clover described, the Grey Kingdom realized they would be wiped out, and in that regard, Joy Boy understood that he could not bring the dawn himself, so he made preparations to ensure that someone would one day be able to carry it out. And so, the war came to an end. The Alliance was triumphant, and all of Joy Boy's allies had to seek refuge in places where they could survive, protecting the stones that they were gifted. The 20 kings came together and founded the World Government, an organization that would keep control of the world under an even...
Do the poneglyphs really need protecting though? I mean, aren't they like pretty much indestructible? So if you you could literally probably put a poneglyph in front of Mary Joa and Would they be able to destroy it? I mean, I guess they can still move it, so they could possibly like throw it into the ocean. They could throw it into the ocean so nobody could get it.
Tighter grip, doubling down on their oppression and becoming actual gods. They began a great act of censorship, killing many historians and witnesses and destroying any records that remained of those times, wiping away an entire century's worth of information, also that Joy Boy's ideals would be forgotten. But Joy Boy and his allies had foreseen this, which is why they created the poneglyphs, so that someone one day could understand their dreams and carry them out. And furthermore, Joy Boy himself left something behind in order to ensure that those ideals would never disappear. The world government eradicated all traces of Joy Boy and his people. The island of the Great Kingdom was removed from all maps, and Joy Boy himself was likely executed. But, personally, I'd be willing to bet that even at the time of his execution, Joy Boy laughed. Because Joy Boy knew that he would not die. What if Joy Boy knew that the dawn would happen, and that he would one day reappear, not because he had confidence it would happen, but because it was already set in stone by fate? What if nothing in this world is a coincidence?
Fate.
This is undeniably a very hard topic to tackle, because I personally hate the concept of fate in narrative. The concept of the chosen.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people who hate the whole fate and concept of the chosen one. I was in, I forgot what Facebook group. I remember somebody posting something about Luffy being the chosen one, and they was really airing their grievance out with not liking that fact about Luffy. And it's kind of just one of them tropes that's just part of stories. Like it's one of them. I don't want to say it's unavoidable, but in some stories it kind of is unavoidable. When you have one person who is meant to. It's like if you have a movie or a show, whoever is that main character tends to be the chosen one. Their fate is inherently to win at the end of the series, or it's inherently meant for them to win. So if you look at it, every work of fiction, the main character is the chosen one. Whether you dislike the idea of fate or not. Like I get what he's saying though. Like for it to be kind of on Front Street, for it to be in the story that he is indeed the chosen one, for that to be the plot, to be the chosen one. But it's kind of like that in everything of fiction. That's why I like when people talk about like plot devices and plot armor. It's kind of like to me, it's a stupid argument, because every work of fiction has a plot device. Like, take for example, I remember sharing a meme I made. It was a joke. It was a joke. But it was still some truth to it. But I said the biggest plot hole in One Piece, and then I said the biggest plot hole in One Piece was when Buggy was about to kill Luffy in Logtown, and then Buggy got struck by lightning. Right? I might have to make a post about it. I might have to make an actual video about this. But I say that's the biggest plot device, right? And I had a lot of people in the comments saying, "Oh, you don't understand One Piece, blah blah blah. It was Dragon who did that." And I'm like I kind of let people just go on though. I didn't say nothing. I didn't argue with nobody, because I wanted people to just say what they wanted to say. But it's like, it's still a plot device. Like, it's still a plot device, regardless. I didn't say that as if it was a bad thing, because plot devices aren't a bad thing. Every work of fiction has a plot device, but it's a plot device because a plot device is basically something that keeps the narrative going, keep the plot going. It doesn't have to be bad. It's like if the villain is about to kill the hero, and then the hero is saved by his friend. That's a plot device. So it's not. It's a common thing in every story. All stories, all works of fiction need plot devices. So regardless why he was saved or who saved Luffy, or it's plot device. The fact that Monkey D. Dragon was in Logtown at that specific point to save Luffy was a plot device. If you do want to say it was Dragon who saved Luffy, you know, even if you want to say, you know, kind of, I think one of the narratives that was always pushed was Luffy is extremely lucky, right? So it was kind of luck that favored Luffy at that moment. Still a plot device. The fact that he was saved was a plot device. But yeah, let me look at the chat. We got Cube in the house. What up, Cube? What up, bro? He said, "What's up? What's going on, man? Glad you made the stream." He said, "The chosen one is the basis of any shonen." Exactly. You know, I mean, you said it, man. Goku, Naruto, gone. Yeah, it is. And he said One Piece science is special. The Wiper surviving Enru's lightning. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you right though. But like my point though is a chosen one is like if you're watching a movie, right, and you got this guy who he's meant to save the world, or even if he's not meant to save the world, but at the end of the day he saves the world or he stops the bad guy. That's kind of a chosen one. That's why they're following this guy, because he was the one chosen in this story. He's the person chosen in this story to win in the end, or to save the world, or to save whatever the situation is. You know, it don't necessarily have to be the world, but it could just be a specific situation that, you know, you need somebody to save some people or to stop that situation. It's just part of stories. But I get what he means, though. I do get what he means. It's this plot that, you know, it's this plot that, okay, this person is indeed the chosen one. When it's part of the plot and it's pushed to be the case, I think that's what he means. Like, you know, the concept of the chosen one. So, I mean, again, I'm not knocking it, but, you know, I feel as though a lot of people just make a big deal off of certain things like plot devices and plot armor and the idea, the concept of a chosen one, like certain tropes, you know, like it's hard to avoid certain tropes in stories, you know, even if people dislike them. But yeah, let's go.
Chosen One, guided and supported by fate, has personally always felt like a cheap narrative choice to me, especially in the realm of shonen where hard work and determination are always part of the core themes. Given how, just like in real life, you can't count on fate and luck to carry you and do everything for you, you need to put in the effort yourself. However, on the other hand, I
get what
simply
he's
cannot
saying,
deny
though.
the fact that fate is a thing in the world of One Piece. We don't know if it's an actual force or a power by fact, but we do at least know that several characters strongly believe in it. And furthermore, there have been several elements in the story that might also lend credence to the fact that fate is a real power. Thus, I am left in quite a precarious situation, because on one hand, I believe in Oda as a writer, and I don't think he'll screw up so fundamentally by making Luffy the chosen one, but at the same time, as an analyst, I cannot reject the evidence, and as such, I have to tackle this subject. So I hope you can approach it with the same level of maturity and look at the evidence rather than just jump into the idea that Oda would never do this. I hope you can stick with me to the very
and talk about this, you know, Luffy being the chosen one. I kind of see it as more of like Luffy not really being fated to unite the world or to succeed. I don't think he's fated to succeed. I believe, it's still a possibility that he can fail despite being the chosen one. I look at him being the chosen one more so he's the chosen one to carry to continue the will of Joy Boy, pretty much. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, it's guaranteed. I mean, the fact that it's a story, yeah, does kind of mean he will he is guaranteed to win in the end. I'm not saying that, but I don't think it's like him being the chosen one to succeed is more. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is kind of moot at this point. So but I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a digestible way. I think he's more he just carrying another person's fate or another person's will. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe he is the vehicle, the vessel. He's the vessel of Joy Boy's will. But I don't think he's necessarily fated the. He is, but he isn't. So it's kind of a moot. I'm kind of talking myself in the circles right now. So I'm gonna just play the video.
Very end before you jump to any conclusions, because only then you might understand the full picture and really get what Oda is going for here. Because while this might seem like just a cheap narrative choice at first, personally, I think this might actually be a stroke of genius. Fate, destiny, and luck are all concepts that have been present in One Piece. These three words, while they do possess mildly different meanings in English, they are all basically synonyms in Japanese. The kanji for fate literally reads as lucky soul, and it plays into the idea that luck and coincidences are ordained by a bigger force of order. While it does share deep roots with Shintoism, this belief isn't necessarily rooted in religion and is widely spread across Japanese culture. It's one of the reasons why fortune readings and gambling are still massively popular in Japan compared to other countries, because people often want to test their fate, as well as why it is often written in as a narrative element in many manga, because it is a fundamental aspect of the culture, potentially even bigger than it is in a lot of Western countries. When it comes to One Piece, however, fate is a concept that is specifically tied to a certain element, the D-Clan.
The faithful D-Clan.
When Law asked Sengoku about his initial in Dressrosa, Sengoku thought the D are always following a checkered fate, and later in Onigashima, Law mused in front of a poneglyph, "I want to know about the meaning of this checkered fate," and even Yamato mentioned this after reading Oden's logbook. In many instances, Robin has realized that the D are strongly tied to the Void Century and to the mysteries of history, which is likely why the D-Clan itself is likely related to Joy Boy's people. But perhaps the biggest pieces of information we've gotten about the D come from Don Quixote.
Bro, hold on, man. I gotta go back. Man, Rayleigh look badass. Rayleigh look pretty badass right there. You got how his like glasses. I don't know. I just like that. I like that that panel with Rayleigh. He just looked like I forget. It's like a common meme people been sharing where like you have somebody with glasses. And it's like whited out, like the shades or the lens are like whited out. Like I forget where that meme originated from. It came from like a specific anime character or something, I think, with glasses. And Rayleigh right there just reminds me of that situation. But look more badass to me, I'm not gonna lie.
Joy Boy's people. But perhaps the biggest pieces of information we've gotten about the D come from Don Quixote Rocinante. Rocinante referred to the D as the faithful race, those guided by fate, and he also claimed that in a certain land the D are referred to as the natural enemies of the gods. Since the celestial dragons are viewed as gods, they fear that the D stand as their natural enemy, and so in Marijois, little celestial dragons are told that if they don't behave, a D will gobble them up, treating the D like a boogeyman of sorts. According to Rocinante, this is because the D have a philosophy that pits them against the gods, which makes sense because this is the same thing that Clover mentioned. Joy Boy and his people had an ideal that were against the idea of a select few ruling from the top as gods. It is possible that monarchs and tyrants of the Void Century view themselves as gods, much like the celestial dragons of today. We saw this with King Don Quixote, with how the Tontata described him. And so, in that regard, Joy Boy's ideals of equality is one that made him the natural enemy of the gods, as we've previously established, because in a world where everyone is equal, then there are no gods. Or what if, perhaps, some sort of entity described as a god who manipulated fate really did exist in the Void Century, and the D clan stood against it by manipulating fate themselves? Quite simply, do you believe in a higher power? Well, perhaps it's too early to think about that. Rocinante furthermore felt that the goal of the D clan was the destruction of the world, but even he indicated that such a term comes with a very different meaning of that of actual destruction. And
Yeah, like, but that makes sense though. Like the destruction of the world, but with an entirely different meaning than the way Daffy intends it. I would say it's more of the destruction of the current system of the world. How the world currently is. It's destroying that, not destroying the actual physical world or nothing. I think that'd just be ridiculous. But even though there's probably some people, maybe like Doflamingo who wants to destroy the world, or maybe Kaido to an extent. Even though I don't know if Kaido's goal is to destroy the world, more so it's just kind of to, have this big war and to almost treat make the. I think Kaido wants more so like anarchy almost. Him and like Blackbeard kind of like more so maybe Blackbeard than Kaido. I think Kaido more so wants a war and he wants to die. Blackbeard kind of seemed like he wants to throw the world into like an anarchy type world where he's kind of the most powerful of everyone, but everybody under is it's just like a pirate type of world, a world that you would expect a pirate paradise. That seems more with Blackbeard. And to a degree, Kaido. But yeah, I think the destruction of the world is pretty much destroying the current version of the world, and that's with the different seas, like the the different blues, East Blue, West Blue, North Blue, South Blue, and the calm belts, the Grand Line, the Red Line, all these things, destroy all these and just make the world one unified place, one unified ocean with islands and countries and stuff.
Havoc. By destruction of the world, like we've established last episode, Rocinante was likely referring to the concept of turning the world upside down, by bringing the destruction of the Red Line and the Grand Line, destroying the current political system and bringing forth a new world, that which would come to be known as the Romance Dawn. That is likely what the D stands for, the Dawn Clan. The Dawn, as Rocinante put it, is their ultimate objective, to destroy the current world and allow it to be reborn under a new dawn that will unite everyone under the same sun. The idea of the D standing for Dawn is certainly one of the most popular theories today, but I was already considering this when Pedro first properly introduced the concept back in 2016, when I was already researching for this project, because even back then, it already made a lot of sense. After all, there is a certain element that people almost never consider when it comes to finding out what the D stands for, and it's the fact that One Piece is a Japanese manga, but the D is most likely an English word, much like things like One Piece or Laugh Tale, but as such...
Going off the D, it kind of reminds me, like, if anybody watched my, I did a stream, about the moon theory. I even broke it down to smaller videos, and one of them talks about the Will of D. I think that was the name of the video, the Will of D. It was kind of a segment of that main theory, so I think you should watch it. It has some interesting information in the theory, with the D more so meaning it being more of a okay, we look at the letter D, right? So, and we look at it as a letter, but maybe originally it was meant to be a moon, like a half moon. Like if you look at a half moon, it kind of looks like a D. So, so if somebody having a half moon in their name wouldn't really make sense. So they just chalk it up to being the letter D. But it's, in that theory, it talks about the D clan being like what's it called? Descendants, being descendants of the ancient kingdom and the people of the moon. You know, let me look at the chat because we got some chats. We got Cube. He says, "Well, Kaido wants the biggest war." Yes, indeed, that is true. He said, "I won't say he isn't against full on chaos." Yeah, I mean, again, like, because I know he's trying to. The reason why I feel as though he kind of one of his goals is to be like full on chaos is because I think he said when he was talking about the Onigashima project, he wanted to move Onigashima into the flower capital, and pretty much getting rid of, like, after he thought he got rid of Orochi, his goal was to pretty much turn Wano into like a weapons manufacturing country but also kind of a haven for pirates and stuff. If I remember correctly, I might be a little wrong about that, but he pretty much just wanted to make it like the Wild Wild West, but also, a place where they manufacture weapons. So, I wouldn't be shocked if his bigger idea is pretty much to be king of the pirates, of course, but to pretty much have the world in chaos, in his own version of chaos. But you said the half moon theory is a good one. Yeah, I mean, I never actually thought of it like that, but it does make sense. For the D originally being like the kind of a simplified way of saying like a descendant of the moon, I guess, like it being like a half moon, but then eventually people just translate it into the letter D. Cube says the last thing you see when Odin dies is his smile that looks like a half moon. Oh yeah, facts for real. I have to look back at that panel, but I do remember him being in like a black silhouette, and then he smiles. So yeah, it makes sense, because when you look at it, when you think about it, a smile kind of looks like a half moon, especially like One Piece smiles. They got like that half moon look to it. So, and you look at it and you think about it, everybody from the D clan, everybody who carries that will of D usually smile. Even though Odin wasn't really a descendant of the D clan, but even then though, the Koski clan has a lot of ties to like the moon. I think I forgot what Koski means in English, but it's something about the moon. And plus their symbol is the moon, like that crescent moon. But yeah, let's continue.
It needs to be an English word that is easy to understand for Japanese audiences, or even more likely, an English word that has already been written in English in the manga itself, such as Dawn. Dawn is written in English on the cover of the very first chapter, even in the Japanese release. Oda could have easily just written it in Japanese, but he specifically wanted to write it in English, and it's something that extends to the volume version as well. One of the very first things you see when you pick up the manga for the first time will be the writing Romance Dawn, and as such it's a word that is ingrained in the mind of any reader, even someone who might have little understanding of English. So, much more than any other option, Dawn simply makes the most sense to be the D. And, of course, this also ties with everything we've talked about, with Roshinante claiming that the D's ideals oppose the ideals of the Celestial Dragons, the same thing Clover cited as the reason for the world government's censorship of Joy Boy and his people's existence, and even Yamato, with knowledge of the journal, mentioned the Dawn shortly before talking about the D initial too. Everything we've learned so far seems to indicate that the D clan, likely the descendants of Joy Boy's people, are all fundamentally tied with the central idea of the Dawn. the ideal that the world government fears so much that his descendants hid this initial in their names. And it's each of these individual D members that, in one way or another, have all helped create a path towards turning the world upside down, weaving fate to do so. The interesting pattern between all the individuals who bear the D in their name is that while they all have played some role or another towards leading the world to its dawn, at least most of them don't seem to have done so consciously. So many of them have contributed in different ways towards leading to this dawn of the world. Whether it's Law setting a path to defeat the Yonko, or Sol rescuing the last person capable of reading the Poneglyphs, or even the larger roles the likes of Ace have played in the story. Most of the D don't seem to be conscious about the fact that their actions are helping pave a path towards the dawn. So if they are not creating...
Bro, I never looked at it like that. But that does make a lot of sense though. Like everybody in the D, everybody who carry that will of D, more so carrying that will in their own way, even if it's a small contribution, even though Monkey D. Luffy is pretty much the main one to carry that fate on, to carry that will on. You got all these contributions from different D's. You look at Gart, Monkey D. Gart. He pretty much trained not only Ace, he trained Luffy as well. So he raised two of the D's. And then Monkey D. Dragon, he birthed Luffy. I mean, he didn't specifically birth him, but he inseminated the woman who birthed Luffy, and not only that, he also actively act against the government. So he's actively pretty much contributing to the will of the D, the will of the D, makes sense, and maybe, he'll be there. Maybe when we see him and Luffy, meet for the first time, maybe he helps Luffy like in some big way, like maybe he has like the biggest contribution to leading Luffy's success, The chat, we got my issue with the B being such a dangerous clan for the world government is how come Garp hasn't been taken out yet. Yeah, Garp is always an interesting case. I think a lot of it has to do with Garp's legacy. Like Garp is considered the hero of the Marines, right? So if the world government, I think on that alone, like that right there alone, kind of makes him untouchable to a degree. Because just imagine if you try to assassinate the hero of the Marines, like the public looks at him as the hero, the Marines looks at him as a hero. So just imagine trying to take out a guy like that. That could probably do more damage to your cause than it will actually helping your cause. So I think his legacy kind of makes him untouchable as far as the world government trying to do something about it. Now, why they didn't do anything about it like earlier in his career, I don't know. Maybe they learned that he was a D a lot later. Maybe he was already a hero. Maybe he was already held as a hero by the time that they learned his middle name was a D, But then again, maybe it's, because you also got to look at it. Garp isn't the only Marine who was a D. You also have Jaguar D. Saw. He was also a Marine, So I don't know if the world government necessarily does anything to you just because your middle name is D, especially long as you're not doing anything actively against the government, but I don't think that, I don't think that they would, if you're helping them, if you're on their side, I don't think that they're actively going to go against you, or unless Saul and Garp just kept it secret for a while. I don't know, I don't know. That's a good question though, but I don't know why they haven't been taken out. I think at least for Garp, I think his makes sense because he's the hero of the Marines. So that kind of give him an untouchable aura. But I couldn't really answer that. Good question though. Then we got Shane Burns in the building. What up, Shane? Let's see what you say. You said ready to have a true reveal of name its meaning, what they are. Is it a bloodline? Is it a tribe or a clan of some sort? Where were they mixed genetically? Yeah, man, that's kind of what we try and figure out right now, man. I don't think they're a clan or like a family. I don't. I mean, because I don't look at it as like a last name. Like you got the Monkey family. Monkey D. Luffy, Monkey D. Dragon, Monkey D. Garp. Then you got the well, it's not. I don't want to say the Portgood family because it's Roger. And he didn't want to name Ace after him. So, but their family, Ace could have easily been like Gold D or something. Like he could have been like Gold D Ace or something. But for his protection, he took after his mom's family name. The D, I think it's just, it's like I do think they might be descendants of the ancient kingdom possibly. Like they might be descendants of the ancient kingdom. Like I did a reaction to a theory about the moon, and it talks about the will of D in that as well. So I mean we don't know, of course, until Oda gives us confirmation of what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If, maybe to a degree they're a bloodline. I'll probably think, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Shane also says Saul was a giant and had a D in his name. Where's some of the D's ancient giants? Man, ready for that information? Yeah, I would think that. See, the thing with the D, I don't think it's like exclusive to any specific type of race, So he was a giant, but Joy Boy might have been a giant, And why do I say Joy Boy might have been a giant? Because when we look at, I forget what chapter it was, but when we go to Mary Joa and they reveal who Eam is, like they reveal this existence of Eam, and Eam goes into this chamber and we see this big straw hat, right? So that could have been Joy Boy's, and maybe he was also a giant. If that was his hat, he had to be a giant in order to fit that hat. That was a big hat. So yeah, I think giants. Again, because I believe giants were part of the ancient kingdom. I believe maybe the sky races were part of the ancient kingdom. But again, I don't know for sure. And then we got Cube. Cube says, I see the D's as member of Joy Boy's clan, not necessarily a race, but a group of people who got together like his crew. Yeah, I could see that being the case as well. Like my theory on who Joy Boy was, I think Joy Boy is a king. I think he was the king of the ancient kingdom, and the ancient kingdom might have been a very inclusive society. Like the ancient kingdom probably had giants. It probably had the sky races, maybe the sea folk. It probably was a very exclusive kingdom. So, maybe people who were part of this kingdom, maybe some of them got, they picked up the D. I don't know. I don't know. But let's continue with the video. Maybe, he have some ideas of some of your guys' thoughts and questions.
This path to the dawn consciously, could this not be considered fate? And in the end, there is someone who has influenced this path towards the dawn more than anyone else. Of course, Monkey D. Luffy.
Why you choose that picture of Luffy?
This man is the central figure of everything, both as the main character of the story and the man who will one day follow in Joy Boy's footsteps. But that begs the question, then was Luffy's dream something he achieved out of his own strength? Or was he simply fated to be? Or just like Whoopsla put it all the way back in chapter 96, is it his dream or his fate? And perhaps no better example could serve to explain this than a scene that happens later in that same arc. Placed upon an execution stand, the very same Roger was executed on, Luffy is about to be beheaded when, out of nowhere, a lightning bolt strikes the plaza. In the
Hey, Cube, this is what I was talking about, man. This is what I was talking about. This moment is a plot device. But again, like, I'm not saying that in a bad way. Luffy couldn't have been killed. Then we wouldn't have no story. I'm glad that happened. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that was a bad plot device. Something had to save Luffy. Just whatever was going to be the save Luffy just was going to happen to be plot device. That's all I'm saying.
Perfect spot at the perfect time, all in order to save Luffy's life. The chances for such a meteorological phenomenon to happen at such a perfect time are astronomically impossible. To be hit by a thunderbolt is rare, but to be hit at a point right before dying to be saved, it's too rare to really be just a coincidence. So was this really the work of coincidence, or that of fate? After seeing this, even Sanji pondered the existence of a god, and Smoker wondered if this is all just a coincidence, or if the heavens were trying to let Luffy live. Even Rayleigh eventually said the same thing. He wondered if there really was such a thing as a coincidence, thinking back to when Roger first met him donning that same straw hat. And there's a scene later in episode 969 of the anime that calls back to this and points out how odd this is. Roger, in his first meeting with Rayleigh, said that their meeting had to be fate. At that point, he even stated that he wanted to turn the world upside down, just like Joy Boy wanted to. But perhaps most striking of all is the fact that Roger was wearing a straw hat, a hat that Luffy would one day also wear. And this is particularly important because the implied national treasure of Marijois is exactly just that, a giant straw hat. What this straw hat really means is hard to say. If you personally ask me, I think it's as simple as this being Joy Boy's straw hat, a symbol of freedom.
Yeah, Shane, that's what I'm talking about. That giant straw hat that they showed in that chamber. If that was Joy Boy's, then Joy Boy had to be a big man. So, so he could have been like the first D member. So if that is indeed the case, then the Giants were it would make sense for the Giants to be part of the D clan. Probably more so than humans, Shane says they definitely are different because Japanese people, from what I know, don't do middle names. Yeah. So it's just something like, I don't know. I don't know how that's passed down. Like, what leads somebody to say, you know what, I'm gonna name my child something D something. Like, is it like, well, I'm a D too, so I'm gonna give my child that initial as well. So I mean, maybe it could be I mean, if that's the case, because that would make sense, then yeah, they most likely are part of a bloodline, or maybe it's like a code for people, descendants of a group, kind of like I think what Cube said when he said like it's a pirate clan, like a pirate. It was Joy Boy's like group or whatever. But let me see where he said that. Like, he said Joy Boy's clan, right? So maybe Joy Boy, when he started off his crew or his clan or whatever, maybe everybody kind of took on the name D, like something D something, So if that's indeed the case, that would make sense. Maybe everybody who was part of his clan named their children, put D's in their name, and then it was just passed on. Because and what made me get that idea is because when you look at the monkey family, they all have D's in their name, from Garp to Roger, or not Roger, from Garp to Dragon to Luffy. All have D's. Not one of them is like it's not Monkey Dragon or nothing. It's Monkey D Dragon. So that could make that could be the case. It could be like people from the exclusive group of Joy Boys were all named D. They all adopted that D initial. And then Shane said, "Yeah, I do believe that had to be Joy Boy's hat." Yep. I want to know, but I do like how he was able to keep the story going so long without just giving it up. You mean Oda? Like how Oda was able to keep the story going so long? Let's continue.
Freedom, but the point I'm getting at is that even before his journey even began, Luffy was gifted a hat that not only pertained to the former Pirate King, but was potentially the same type of hat that Joy Boy once wore too, or at least a hat that is closely tied with the Void Century. And in that regard, both Roger and Luffy wearing this hat, can it really be called a coincidence? Even King Emu looked at the hat compared to Luffy's wanted poster and pondered to himself, could he be the one? Something like this hat already implies that Luffy isn't just a normal person. And of course, this is not accounting that Luffy was born a member of the D clan. The D isn't an honorary title or anything, we've seen it passed down in biological relationships, so from the very start, Luffy was already born as someone special. Even the Sea Kings seem to foresee the date around which...
Cube says, it's quite symbolic. In history, when people lose their homeland to outside invaders, what they do is keep their culture alive through their name and descendants. Oh, that's interesting. I never really thought of that, but it actually does make sense. Like you lose your homeland, you keep something that that signifies that you're a descendant from let's say your homeland or whatever. And so anytime you meet somebody in the world who shares that name or initial or whatever, they also know that you know that they're also like they also share that same ancestry, and they know that you share that same ancestry. And then Q said, wouldn't shock me though, those who adopted the D are those who were from the old kingdom. Yeah, like again, like I said, like I told you, Q, but like Shane, if go check out my video, it talks about the Will of D. It's from a stream I did talking about the moon theory. I don't know if you watched that. Like maybe you already watched it, but if you haven't, check out the moon theory. It's a pretty interesting theory that I found from Reddit, and it talks about the Will of D. It talks about the D clan possibly being descendants from the ancient kingdom and the moon. Because there's a lot about the moon. Like the moon has a lot of history in One Piece. We know that NL went up to the moon and he discovered a lot, that there used to be a kingdom that were up there, like the Skypeans, the Sky Races. They used to live on the moon, and then they ran out of resources, so they went to the sky, to the Earth's atmosphere, and we know that Skypea, like especially Jaya and Skypea, have a lot of symbolism when it comes to the Void Century. They have a poneglyph. And so, and I believe that the ancient kingdom left poneglyphs with certain groups to protect them. So they left them with the Shandians, who are also a sky race, but they also lived on the ground in Jaya. So, yeah, again. Interesting stuff, though. Interesting stuff.
Luffy and Shirahoshi would be born, though this could simply be a form of clairvoyance like the one Shirley had, since she also predicted Shirahoshi's birth, which I personally consider to just be a form of advanced future sight, so I don't think this necessarily indicates anything. But if we go back to that lining scene, we start to realize that there are plenty of other scenes all across the series that are just like it. Points where Luffy should definitely have died, but he is saved at the very last moment. To put just a few examples, in Alabasta, when he is defeated by Crocodile and buried into the ground, it's Robin who saves him from death. Had she not been there at the right time, Luffy would have likely died. And at that point, Robin asked Luffy, "Those of you who carry the name D, why do you fight? Just who are you people?" At Enies lobby, right as the Straw Hats were about to die and with no way of escape, Mary came in to save them at just the right second. Had him pulled down, Luffy was fatally poisoned, yet he managed to be saved by the one of the very few men who could save him in such a situation. Even Ivankov mentioned that Luffy's chances would only go from 0% to 2-3%, something
And you also think about every moment that Luffy fell in the water and somebody had to go save him, even though that's not like necessarily that big of a deal, because it's like, he got his crew he's always with his crew, and you got a few swimmers in his crew, so, and they're always on the ocean, so it's always likely that he could fall into the ocean. Shane says, that hat is exactly like Luffy's. It was shown to us for a reason. I'm pretty sure it won't be revealed until after Wano ends. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Probably even later, honestly. Could potentially be. I don't know. It could be after Wano, but I mean, it's definitely gonna be after Wano. But I don't know if it's gonna be like right after Wano. He said, "I'll go find that video." Yeah. Yeah. It's not the Reddit's theory video. It's called the Moon Theory. I think that's what it should be called. The Moon Theory. But it is from Reddit, though. I did get the theory from Reddit, so I don't know the name of it at the moment. I'll have to look, but it could be the Reddit theory video. But if there's only one Reddit theory video, that's not the one. That's not the one. But yeah.
Incredibly rare to happen. At Marineford, he was saved countless times from the nick of death by countless people, and even at the very end, where it seemed like he couldn't escape, Law came in to his rescue, a member of the D-Clan, and Kobe's speech and later Shanks' arrival are what gave him enough time to slip away, something that happened by mere seconds, and even Shanks himself remarked that, whether for the better or the worse, this moment now has greatly changed the fate of the world. At Dressrosa, there were several points where Luffy was about to die, yet he ended up being saved in the nick of time. On his way to Whole Cake Island, Luffy once again ended up being poisoned by a deadly toxin, one that was about to kill him. Yet coincidentally, one of the only people who could have saved his life, one of the very few people in the entire world who could remove the toxins from him that fast, just happened to be there. And it wasn't because they had an interest in meeting him, no. They specifically stated they wanted to meet Sanji, but they coincidentally happened to miss him and ended up meeting Luffy instead. And of course, Luffy meeting Law and Kinemon at Pang Hazard eventually led him to the path to defeat the Yonko, and in getting the Road Poneglyphs. Had he not met them on that island, would he have ever ended up at Wano? Especially since Ace before him also ended up making the same promise of defeating Kaido. Even CP0 later remarked how all of these seemed.
And then another moment where, yeah, I'll let you know. I'll send you the link. Yeah, I'll send you the link. I'm trying to think where we usually talk. Is it Instagram? I don't remember. But oh yeah, on Discord. I could probably reach out to you on Discord. Well, yeah. So another moment that I don't know if he's going to mention or if he, is the fact that he found Zoe. The fact that they went to Zoe, right? So them going to Zoe actually made him it almost cut their journey down by half almost, cause when we went to Zoe, Nekomamushi and Inuyasha, they both said like, hey, all this stuff that we're telling you now, you would have discovered if you would have kept about your journey and went to the last island. You know, the last island, I guess, on the sea or whatever, on the red line. Like, that's usually when people learn about the road poneglyphs and all those things, that you need 4 road poneglyphs in order to find Laugh-Tale. When a lot of people would tell you that, a lot of people would say that Laugh-Tale is the last island, but it's not the last island. The last island only tells you about getting the poneglyphs, like finding the poneglyphs and the road poneglyphs at that. And that's how you pretty much find Laugh-Tale. So he was lucky to come into contact with Inuyasha and Nekomamushi, because that made him not have to go all the way to the end of the sea or whatever, the last island, to find all this stuff out. Yeah, I'll reach out to you on Discord for that link though, and then I'll give you the link to the full stream, but I'll also give you the link to the video. You want the link to the stream, or you want the link to the video I talk about the Willa D? Because if you want the link to the stream, you'll get, you don't need the other video. But yeah, so he Shano said Luffy name should be Monkey D Lucky. For real. It should be lucky as he is. And then Cube says CP0 are hella creepy. Yeah, the masks. Yeah, I'm waiting for him. I mean, we have seen them do something, so I'm actually kind of happy for that. But which is they beat Apu and Drake relatively quick. So, or at least Drake. So I know they're pretty tough. They gotta be strong, especially them being with Rob Lucci. I'm pretty sure Rob Lucci got a lot stronger as well. Shane Burns said, I feel like Vegapunk is head of CP0 or maybe just SSG. I don't know, but they are shady for sure. Yeah, I don't think Vegapunk's head of CP0. I don't think that. I think, to me, Vegapunk is probably just a scientist, plus, CP0 answers directly to the Celestial Dragons and the Gorosei. But yeah, he's definitely head of the SSG. Shane Burns said stream or video, either way is cool. Okay, I'll send that to you on Discord. I like the theory that Vegapunk is a double agent. Yeah, I heard that. Like, for the revolutionaries. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense to why he allowed Kuma to kind of keep a level of his conscience for a while, and to follow that last order of him protecting the Sunny, before he full on went full cyborg, because Vegapunk didn't have to do that. Vegapunk could have been like, yeah, I'll fulfill your promise, and then just say, no, I'm not fulfilling his promise. And then he said his creations are evil, but his actions reveal he's got empathy. The thing with scientists, I don't think they necessarily look at good and evil. They look at, like their work could be used for evil, but they just like science and they like building and creating things. So, and plus, if you look at it, if you think about it, the world government aren't necessarily like the Marines and the world government. I don't want to say they're looked at as the good guys in the universe. In the One Piece universe, they're kind of looked at as the good guys. The pirates are the bad guys. The world government, the Marines, good guys. Us as the viewer, we see that differently though. Because we see what the world government does. We see, so with him, he probably does stuff, like he's doing stuff as a scientist. He's building, he's creating, and maybe he's also doing stuff to maybe sabotage the world government on the inside as well. You know, like maybe he has some type of plan going on. And Q Boss said, and we know he was arrested 30 years ago by the world government. Yeah, him and the rogue group of scientists, MADS, I think. I think that was their name, MADS. You had Vegapunk. I don't know if Caesar was a part of that, but I know Vegapunk, Judge, and Queen had to be a part of that. Maybe Caesar. I don't know for sure. And then Shane said Vegapunk, I think, is just an innovator and inventor. He doesn't think about it, similar to how Frankie was when he was younger. Vegapunk just never saw the light, I guess. Yeah, I agree that he was just an inventor. I don't think scientists necessarily do stuff. At least most scientists, I don't know if they look at it. You got scientists who build things that could be used for great stuff, but a lot of time the people who are kind of funding these scientists, they want to use that stuff for bad things, but like nuclear, like whoever created nuclear energy or whoever discovered it, nuclear energy could be used for a lot of good stuff, but it can also be used for nuclear weapons. So, it's just how you use some of these inventions more so. But yeah, let's get back to the video.
Like an act of fate. Can all of these be called coincidences? Sure, some of them might be, but several others just can't be. This isn't just plot armor or narrative convenience. There's no such convenience as a lightning bolt falling in place at the right time. There's no such thing as being saved from the nick of death at the right instant, again and again and again.
It is plot armor.
And again. There are countless other examples I could make, but they always lead to Luffy surviving under unbelievable circumstances. And this isn't considering the luck Luffy has had in general, whether it's someone like Robin ending up on his crew, literally the last person alive capable of reading the poneglyphs, all thanks to the efforts of a member of the D-Clan saving her life, or whether it's Trafalgar Law, another member of the D-Clan setting Luffy on the right route to defeat the Yonko and attain all the road poneglyphs, or the many allies who have helped Luffy on his journey. I'm sorry, but no matter how you put it, it almost feels like none of this was achieved by Luffy's own efforts, but by all the help that others have given him. But then
Q said the Revolution Army don't seem too bothered in taking out his inventions, which is weird. They are taking the black market arms deal, but aren't going after the Pacifista project. I mean, my only pushback on you on that is we haven't really seen much of what the Revolutionary Army is doing. We only see bits and pieces. So who's to say they aren't? They're not sharing everything that the Revolutionary Army is doing. So I don't know, man. Maybe his inventions aren't really priority to them. Maybe they got bigger things that in their mind are bigger fish to fry, such as like freeing other countries that are in immediate oppression. You know what I'm saying? And then he says, "True, yeah." Like it just, we don't have enough information to say what the revolutionary isn't and is doing. So I can't really, I guess agree with that statement. But maybe they aren't though. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they aren't for a reason.
And does that mean that everything so far was meaningless? Was Luffy just born to become the Pirate King? Was he blessed with the D in his name from birth? Was he given his hat because Shanks knew he would be the chosen one? Is Luffy the reincarnation of Joy Boy, or simply the chosen one meant to carry out this prophecy? Well, before we answer all this, to better understand the situation, I would suggest we take a look at our individual who is so deeply tied with fate as much as Luffy. Blackbeard. From the time he was introduced, Blackbeard is someone who has shown to deeply believe in fate. He mentioned that how things develop is nothing more than an act of fate, and his crewmate Doc Q remarked that fate is what measures a man's worth at all moments. In fact, we saw Doc Q offering Luffy a basket of apples, some of which were rigged with explosives, but Luffy ended up eating a good apple. Doc Q remarked how Luffy is blessed by luck, indicating that he was testing Luffy's fate. Even later in Impel Down, on their way to level 6, Blackbeard and his men were caught in Magellan's deadly toxin and were about to die. Yet by pure chance, or perhaps fate, Shiryu arrived just in time, happening to carry an antidote with him. He remarked that if it hadn't been for this coincidence, Blackbeard's crew might have all died, but Augur mentioned that his appearance was an act of fate, with Tish exclaiming that those who fear are the losers. You should live in the moment.
Bro, Magellan is so underrated. that man almost killed Blackbeard. He almost killed Blackbeard and his whole crew. You know, like the same Blackbeard crew that went to go kill Whitebeard right after. He almost killed them with barely even thinking about it, honestly. You know, even though they wasn't really expecting it, but still, you know.
Indicating that one should trust in their own fate and move forward with conviction. But no instance is potentially more telling than the clash between Ace and Blackbeard at Banaro Island. Blackbeard claimed that him killing Thatch was a twist of fate, one that led him to this point, allowing him to become darkness itself. And on the other hand, you have someone like Ace, who wielded the power of fire, which symbolizes the sun. Ace created a copy of the sun to fight Blackbeard, symbolizing the dawn itself, the rise of the sun. In this case, this was a lot more than just a clash between pirates. It was a clash between the flames of the sun, the flames of the dawn, and the darkness of the night. Blackbeard right then and there declared to Ace that he wanted to become the Pirate King, and to him that meant not bringing the dawn, but to conquer the world. Standing in stark contrast to both Ace and Luffy's ideal, these are two opposite ideals that were clashing against each other. The clash between Blackbeard and Ace would unavoidably determine the fate of how things would move forward in the future. The dusk or the dawn, which would...
Like I said before, I would say Blackbeard is kind of like... Okay, so we got Monkey D. Luffy and Blackbeard, right? I think Blackbeard is probably like Luffy's equivalent. I agree with him. Like, I agree what he said about Blackbeard, you know, like fate being tied to fate just as much as Luffy. And I agree with that. Like, I believe he's probably going to be the only person to really challenge Luffy's claim. And with the ability to possibly win. But like, we got Luffy and Blackbeard. Now, what we know of Luffy is he's kind of like, he carries Roger's will, right? He carried Goldie Roger's will. So I would think that Blackbeard might carry Zebek's will, Rox D. Zebek's will. And if that's the case, and let's say Roger and Luffy both carry Joy Boy's will, there must have been somebody who was like that nemesis to Joy Boy, you know, like Joy Boy's Blackbeard or Joy Boy's Rox D. Zebek. You know, I kind of want to say Eam, but the fact that Eam is still alive, I don't know if I would, you know, that's if Eam was indeed around in the Void Century, in the Ancient Kingdom era. So, but I believe there had to be somebody who was like Rox D. Zebek or Blackbeard, that person that challenged Joy Boy, and maybe him maybe he's why the ancient kingdom lost. Let's continue.
Prevail. If Ace won, then Blackbeard would be defeated, eradicating this big threat from the world. Blackbeard won, and, well, we already know what happened. But that's the thing. Both outcomes were possible. As the battle unfolded, Artur remarked, "Today is yet another of fate's crossroads." To him, this was a crossroads of fate. These are two different fates clashing against each other, either of which could have won, and in the end, Blackbeard was the one who came out on top, sure, but there was every chance that Ace could have won himself. In other words, it means that fate is not set in stone.
And I'm glad he said that, because there was a point where I was kind of going round and round. Like, I was trying to, when I said that, like, yeah, Luffy is the chosen one, but that doesn't necessarily mean he will succeed. But the fact it being a story, of course, the main character, the good guy, he always wins at the end. So yes, he is indeed the chosen one who will indeed succeed. But if you're just looking outside of this, if you're looking outside of, the macro part, the looking into the story, and you're looking at it as if you're in that universe, Luffy may be the chosen one, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's guaranteed that it's fated for him to win. With somebody like Blackbeard favors, or luck and fate favors Blackbeard just as much as it does Luffy. Almost as much. So there's still, I'm just saying, I don't believe it's set in stone that Luffy will win. Even though, again, I'm like contradicting myself. Even though we know Luffy will win for the fact that it's a shonen and it's a story where the good guy always win. But, looking at it outside of looking into the story, and if you look at it from the plot point of view, Luffy is indeed the chosen one, but it doesn't mean it's set in stone that he will win. If y'all understand what I'm saying, looking past the contradiction, it's like, he is the chosen one, but that don't mean it's guaranteed. That don't mean it's set in stone that he's going to win and change the world. Blackbeard is also looking like he could be one of the chosen ones as well, and except he just has a different direction to where he wants the world to go. So it's just a matter of whose destiny or whose fate overcomes the other. Is it going to be Luffy's overcoming Blackbeard, or Blackbeard's overcoming Luffy? And yeah, but we know that Luffy's going to win in the end. Sorry to break it to y'all, but that's kind of that's the point of. I mean, just imagine Blackbeard winning at the end. That would kind of shake things up. That'd be interesting if Blackbeard does win in the end. That would be the biggest swerve of any shonen series I've ever seen. The bad guy winning. We just had this long series only for the good guy to lose. The main character to lose in the end.
The D have shown that they have the power to guide fate, but how they guide it is up to them. They aren't destined to have things go their way, they make things go their way. Roshinante remarked the very same thing, claiming that Law had managed to escape his deadly fate and marked a new fate for himself. The reason why Roshinante didn't want Law to follow Doflamingo is because he was afraid that he would let Doflamingo rise to the position of Pirate King through his powers, someone who, much like Blackbeard, would have sent the world falling into darkness. The dawn of the world is far from guaranteed. There are those who have the ability to lead the world to its dawn, sure, but there are also those who can lead it to an even darker night. Some seek to free and others seek to conquer. These two opposite fates cannot coexist. One of them will have to prevail over the other, and it will be these crossroads of fate that will represent the final struggle of the series. But the one that will prevail in the end will not be the one blessed by the heavens, but the one whose will shall be strong enough to carve their own fate. None of Luffy's struggles so far have been the work of sheer luck or fate. This conflict will bring about a big war, potentially the biggest the world has ever seen, as Odin put it. This will result in a colossal storm, both figuratively and likely literally, a conflict that will engulf the world like an unstoppable storm. This is likely the storm that the D will bring again that the celestial dragons always fear, and the same storm that is mentioned across the series and can even be found present in many of the lyrics of many of the openings. This storm will result in the eventual eradication of the celestial dragon system, so regardless of if it will lead to a path of light or to a path of darkness, the celestial dragons will fall. And it's quite fitting that one of the central people trying to change the political system is a member of the D clan, with the ability to create actual storms. Something that's been set up since as early as East Blue. And it will be after this dark storm and a really difficult struggle that finally the sun will rise again. As long as we keep believing in Luffy, I'm certain he will be able to bring forth a new dawn. Sure, without this ability to manipulate fate, much like the other D, maybe Luffy would have never gotten to where he is, and that is important to acknowledge. But at the same time, he would have never gotten anywhere if it weren't for his determination or willingness to never give up. Had Luffy decided to give up at any point, fate wouldn't have carried him to becoming the Pirate King. His adventures would have ended there. Every battle, every struggle, every challenge was overcome from Luffy's own strength, from his determination to never give up. The reason why Luffy passed the true 3% chances of surviving Magellan's toxin wasn't just due to meeting Ivankov, but as Ivankov himself put it, from Luffy's own willpower to survive. It's something Luffy achieved on his own, and it's at that point that Ivankov remarked,
一度は死ぬと決まった運命に逆らうことがどれほどのことか奇跡なめんじゃないよ
Everything Luffy has achieved so far, every miracle that has blessed him, was not just the work of fate alone. It was the very fate that he himself carved, and the hard work that he put in order to carry it out. But that still doesn't answer exactly what this fate is. And that is something that...
Man, we talking about Ivankov. The real question is, man, when Luffy gonna go rescue Bone Clay? Man, that's the real question that need to be asked. When we gonna see Bone Clay again? You know, like when my dog Bone Clay gonna come back in the story and Luffy go to Impel Down and go save him and Sabo or something? I don't know. We need Bone Clay part of the Straw Hats, man. You know, he's like one of the realest friends Luffy ever came apart. You know, outside of maybe Zoro and Sanji and Usopp. Bone Clay should be a Straw Hat. Shane says it's not that Luffy will win, but how will it happen? And Blackbeard is also the chosen one for a different path the world can take. Yes, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with that. You know, I'll just say he will win because, you know, that's kind of how these stories work, you know, that's how these, not just shonen, but that's how fiction stories work. It usually work with the good guy winning in the end, you know. But yeah. Yeah, and then he said Bone Clay better return. Who you telling, man? Who you telling? You need to bring up my dog Bone Clay back. Jim Carrey. Let Jim Carrey play him in the live action film. Shane says I fell behind on the video. My bad. That's all right. Cube says, imagine if they have another Impel Down prison escape. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it wouldn't be a full arc though. You know, like that, because then that would be repetitive to have another Impel Down. You know, and we don't even know if Sabo's an Impel Down, and he might need to be saved. So, but if they do go to Impel Down to get Bone Clay, then, you know, that should be like maybe a few episodes, like 2-3 episodes into maybe like this big war or whatever. Like, let's say they're preparing for the big war, so they gotta go get Sabo, they gotta go get Bon Clay. You know, this time hopefully they save Sabo and not Sabo dying. You know. And then Shane said, haha, that'd be dope. Yeah. Yes, sir. We got like 7 minutes of this.
That is hard to answer definitively. Maybe it really is just a power that kind of exists, or perhaps it has a set origin. Maybe it's a manifestation of Haki, willpower so strong that it even weaves fate itself. Or maybe it really is just all superstition and just pure coincidence. But like many things we've explored, it's not so much about how it came to exist, but why it exists. What I'm essentially getting at is that regardless of what fate ends up being, regardless of what it is that pushes the D, it is not fate that controls them, but they are the ones who write fate itself. It is through their actions, their decisions, that they are able to create fate. As Blackbeard put it, fate is what measures a man's worth at all moments. When Sengoku talked about Roshinante's actions, despite claiming that they follow a checkered fate, he also told Law that Roshinante's actions were not driven by a larger purpose. He told Law not to try and attach a meaning to Roshinante's love, indicating that he simply helped Law because he loved him. Roshinante helped Law change his fate, but the source of these actions were nothing simpler than love. And similarly, someone like Saul, while he also ended up forging a path towards fate, he didn't betray the Marines because it was his destiny, but he did it because he felt it was the right thing. And it was his love for Robin that saved her life. Rouge saved...
Q said, I don't see Sabo dying. Oda says he hates bringing characters back from the dead. So when he kills a character, he means it. Yeah, I don't see Sabo dying. I kind of looked at like Ace kind of had to die, you know, for a couple reasons. Like I don't see Sabo's death being as important when it comes to the relative to the enemies, right? To the world government or the Marines. I don't think Sabo's death is as important as Ace's was, you know, because Ace's symbol, Ace still was kind of, he was like the last attachment to Goldie Rogers' legacy, right? That was Ace. He's the last attachment to Goldie Roger, who was like the previous king of he was the king of the previous era. You know what I'm saying? So Ace kind of had to die just to kind of, at least for the Marines, just to kind of put an end to that legacy in that era. Sabo doesn't have that name recognition such as Ace. He's just part of the Revolutionary Army, you know. So, you know, not saying they don't want to kill Sabo, but I'm saying his importance to, let's say, the opposition isn't as high as Ace's. And Ace also kind of served to almost impact Luffy, right? It was almost to kind of impact Luffy's character. You know, Sabo already died once, supposedly. I mean, he didn't die. He was saved. But, you know, supposedly they thought he was dead. And I don't think he needs to die. You know, I don't think, you know, his death I don't think would be, I don't think it would serve anything to the bigger story. You know, other than possibly, you know, putting Luffy through all that pain again. Like that's the only thing, the only purpose I could see it really, the only effect I could see it having is putting Luffy through more pain, you know. And yeah, as far as killing off characters, yeah, I mean, of course, Oda doesn't like killing characters like that. So I don't see, you know, like if Oda is gonna kill Sabo, it has to serve some type of purpose, and you know, I don't know what purpose it would serve, other than seeing Luffy fail and saving his brother one more time, which would be kind of repetitive.
Her son's life not because it was important for the dawn of the world, but because it was her kid, because she loved him, so on and so forth. The action of all these individuals were not driven by some ulterior motive, but simply by the conviction of their own personal ideals. They created their own fates.
The power to connect.
And there might be no better example to describe this than Luffy's encounter with Oracle Mihawk and Marineford. As Mihawk drew his blade, he stated, "Now, Fate, let us see how you favor the shining star of the next generation. Will his life end here, or will you save it from my black blade?" Literally stating to test Luffy's fate. Despite attempting to seriously kill him, it's through the help of his allies that Luffy managed to get away and once again survive. And at that point, Mihawk realized, explaining just what exactly this power of fate really is.
その場にいる者たちを次々に自分の味方につける。
その調子だぶれよ、麦わらボーイ。
切り抜けたようじゃな。
ルフィ、兄上をお助けするのじゃ。
この海においてあの男は最も恐るべき力を持っている。
Because that's quite simply what Luffy's power of fate is. It's not so
Well, hearing Mihawk talk, man, send that shivers down my spine, man. That's my dog right there. That's my dog. And yeah, that's all I had to say. With that.
much the ability to write destiny itself, but to connect with people, to draw in people who will help him go on the right path. Think back to all those times, such as when Luffy was struck by the lightning at Lockdown. Was that simply fate saving him, or was that the power of Monkey D. Dragon, who used his Delphic powers to save Luffy from that execution? It was Robin who saved Luffy from the Sanad.
That's definitely one of the what most people believe that I didn't even realize so many people believe that. But, I mean, it makes sense though. I mean, I guess like if you really think Dragon has that weather devil fruit, I guess why you would think that he's the one who saved Luffy. I don't like to go off of speculation though. Personally, I like to go off what we see, and when it's confirmed, that's fine. I'll definitely be fine with being wrong with that. But it's not confirmed that Dragon has a devil fruit yet, and even if it does, that it's a weather devil fruit that could produce lightning. But going off with a lot of speculation, it definitely does make sense that it was Dragon who saved Monkey D. Luffy from being executed by Buggy. So
At Alabasta, Mary came in to save them at just the right second. It was Ivankov who helped Luffy survive at Impel Down. It was Scobie and Shanks who saved Luffy from Marineford and all the other allies who protected him. It was all the allies at Dressrosa who helped save Luffy. Everybody who came together so that Luffy could defeat Doflamingo. It was Reiju who saved Luffy from poison. It was Kinemon and Law who guided Luffy to Wano. All of these individuals have saved Luffy because Luffy has the ability to connect with people. He has the power to have others trusting him, to believe in him, and to help him out in turn. As Luffy said during Arlong Park, he knows he can't do everything alone. And like he told Bullet in Stampede, there is no point in chasing for the past.
Q says Mihawk was the guy we all knew in school who came to class with no backpack, just a pen. That's me right there. I'm playing.
Path to the top alone. Luffy's crewmates, his nakama, his allies, his friends, all the bonds he has created and connected with are the most important thing in the world to him. They are his most important treasure, more than even his own hat. Luffy needs others to help him out, and there's nothing wrong with that. Life isn't meant to be fought through power alone. That is what friends are for. The path to the pinnacle can't be achieved by one's own strength alone, but through the help of the bonds that one has forged. Above anything else, that is potentially one of the most fundamental themes of One Piece. Perhaps Oda will prove me wrong and I'm just being too faithful and hopeful in this writing, and I'm just being too optimistic. Ultimately, it doesn't really change anything in the grand scheme of things.
So if I'm being honest, I find Luffy to be the chosen one, Fate to be the more likely theory and the one with the higher chance of being correct. but I want to think it's not the case of faith for Oda's writing. This aspect of the theory could be wrong, but it doesn't really change anything overall.
Things if Luffy was the chosen one or not, but for the sake of good writing, I think it makes so much more sense for Luffy to be truly free, even free from destiny itself. Luffy wasn't given his straw hat by Shanks because he knew he was the chosen one. Shanks chose to bet on him. Shanks saw in Luffy the same dream that Roger had, the dream to throw the biggest party in the world, and it was that which led him to place his bet on Luffy. It was Luffy's own ability to make Shanks trust in him that set him on the route towards his dream, and it's everyone else who has chosen to believe in him across that journey that have helped set Luffy on his path to one day finally become the Pirate King. And that is exactly as Rayleigh put it all along.
この世には偶然などないのかもしれない。すべてが必然であるかのように。縁はやおら形を成してゆく。とかく、ルフィはまた一段とあの帽子がよく似合う男になった。
But that is a story no one yet knows about.
All right, so it's gonna be the next episode, Will of Dreams, what is Inherited Will. Man, like, if y'all haven't, y'all gotta go watch. Go back if y'all haven't yet watched the Reddit thread, the Reddit theory, and also watch the Moon theory as well. So the Reddit theory video is about, I think, inherited dreams, inherited will. I mean, and then there's the Moon theory. Two different theories, but you know, I think both of them have, you know, and I think they're old theories at that. They're pretty old theories, but they still kind of have some relevance, I would say. And some of the ideas kind of connect with those two videos I did, and this current video series I'm doing from Artur. So it's interesting stuff, very interesting stuff. So yeah, we'll be watching the next episode. I want to say next Wednesday, most likely. Now, unless I have a job, I don't know if I have a job then. But if that's the case, then, you know, we'll probably watch it either Tuesday or Thursday. You know, one of them. But long as my day's free on Wednesday, we should be doing the next video. We should be doing the next video, episode 6, Wednesday, and that should be good. This whole series, I've been enjoying doing this series, and you know, I like making some of the connections with some of the other theories I followed. But anyway, I want to shout out Shane Burns and Cube again, you know, for hopping in the chat, interacting with me. Really appreciate you two guys. You know, you guys really make these streams a lot better, and y'all make me enjoy these streams a lot more, you know, having, you know, y'all come and interact with me, and you know, y'all give me some different perspectives of some of these theories I'm going over. So I really appreciate y'all for coming through and interacting. And I think I'm gonna probably be doing another stream maybe tomorrow, because I have a job Friday. So I'm gonna do a stream tomorrow where I'm gonna be reacting to Elid's latest video. I think it's called Red Sea, where he's talking about, from what I know, from what he told me, he's gonna be talking about the hell in One Piece. So if Skypiea is kind of like heaven, then there's also like a hell, and you know, I don't want to talk too much about what could possibly be in that video, because again, I would rather wait to watch that video to talk about it. So yeah, so that video that stream should be tomorrow. I want to say we'll do around either 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Central Time, which mean that's same 5 p.m. is the same time I started this stream today. So, and right now it's like 6:40, so like 40 minutes ago that would be like 6 p.m. my time. Yeah, so we'll be doing that stream. Maybe if he's available, maybe I could add him to the stream afterward. I'm gonna let him know I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna react to his video tomorrow. So, you know, maybe he'll hop in and share some of his thoughts, you know. Maybe we could hear some of his thoughts. He could explain things if y'all have questions for him. But that's if I could get him on the stream. So don't quote me. Don't sit there and say, where's Elids at? Look, I haven't talked to him about it. I'm just realizing that I kind of want to do that stream tomorrow because I have a job Friday. Because I was going to do it Friday, but I just remembered I have a job. So I won't be able to stream Friday. Most likely I won't be able to stream. So, you know, I'm going to just do it tomorrow instead. And Q said I might hop on tomorrow. Hey, bro, I hope to see you there. I hope to see you there. But yeah, anyway, you know, thank you guys for enjoying, you know, being part of the stream. You know, everybody, if you haven't, you know, make sure y'all go like this stream, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Yeah, join the One Piece Facebook group if you're on Facebook. We got the One Piece Discord. Links will be in the description. And yeah, I'm pretty much. It was a good stream. But yeah, it's your boy Sean P. the Bluff God. Hey, and I'm out of here. Y'all have a good day. Peace.